what can I learn from the people I hate the most? Now, this does two things. It forces you to separate your morality from your search for effectiveness. It also helps you to develop some degree of empathy. And those two are very powerful. So what can I learn from the people I hate most is a very useful practice. So I'll journal on that very often. In terms of patterns, we were talking about some of the things I've spotted. Meditation or journaling are performed by close to 100% of the people that I interviewed. So there are weaknesses you should address, but then there are flaws that can be converted into strengths. So I think that's another way to catalyze creativity or just creating anything, is to realize that some of your biggest flaws may in fact be assets. And so that could be a question you ask. How might some of my biggest weaknesses be strengths or assets? I think that's a very useful question to journal on, and which I tend to do just about every morning, is freehand journaling in what are called morning pages. But we're talking about creativity, morning pages, because I also don't feel like I have all my eggs in one basket. I'm diversifying my identity in a way, which I think is very important. The impact that I want to have on the world right now would be creating a benevolent army of super learners who test the impossibles and teach other people to do the same. So whether it's 100,000, a million, people who've mastered meta learning, acquiring skills, who are also willing to test the impossibles, test the assumptions, and have the uncomfortable conversations that I think this country is largely dodging, that gets me all excited. And if they're able to then impart that to more people, my goal is to make me obsolete as quickly as possible. It's like, I think the goal of any really good personal trainer should be to make themselves obsolete and unnecessary as quickly as possible. So that's my goal.
Getting back on track when you fall off the tracks with a new habit. Number one, doing anything with a friend, even if it is virtual, holding each other accountable in some fashion. You can put some money on the line, even if it's $1 or $10. I know a Google engineer at one point who said to a friend, they agreed that they would each pay the other $1 if they missed a workout together. But even those minimal stakes help to increase compliance tremendously. The next thing I'll say is Just Start Again Meditation. It's very short, by Sam Harris, who has an app called the Waking Up app. This really just underscores and guides you through the experience of letting go of something that didn't work. The last thing I'll say is do less than you think you can handle. If you think it is realistic for you to do 20 minutes a day on the treadmill 5 days a week and you've never done that before, go 5 minutes on the treadmill every other day. You can always add more time. You can always add more repetitions. Make it easy.
What skill do I think everyone should master to become more productive? I would say getting better at asking questions. I find that levels of success in almost any industry or area correlate to a person asking great questions. In some cases, they seem absurd. In fact, the hallmark in a way of great questions is that sound completely ridiculous. So someone might ask, like Peter Thiel, why can't you achieve your 10-year goals in the next 6 months? As a thought exercise, that's a good question to answer for yourself. So if you get better at asking other people questions, you get better at asking yourself questions, which means you're improving your thought performance. Complaining is easy. It's in vogue. It's seductive. It is reinforced socially. And it, for me at least, is utterly counterproductive. I think that there's an expression as it relates to anger that, you know, a vessel that holds acid is damaged more than anything it pours acid upon. Mm-hmm. And if you are the vessel for anger or complaining, I think it does more damage to you than that which you point it at. If you want to improve or maintain or improve your health, your well-being, and your ability to function, consider something like the 21-day no complaint experiment. If you address complaining, which is easier to identify and measure sometimes than anger, there is a very significant carryover effect into decreasing anger. Very large carryover effect.
how I think about decision making and also helpful and unhelpful intuition. The first is risk benefit. So you're writing down sort of the best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios for different options. You could use that for choosing to invest in a given company or not. If you can cap the downside and there is asymmetrical upside, meaning you might make 2x, 10x, 100x, 1000x, then you know at least your maximum losses. Now, layered on top of all of this is called a whole body yes. You're considering a decision and you scan head, heart, chest, gut. Now, what I find a little challenging is identifying what a yes feels like. So what I do instead is I look for no signals. What that means is if I feel any contraction or grinding of the gears in my head, it's a no. If I feel any contraction in my chest, these are disconfirming. This is helpful is you can do the risk benefit analysis. You can do all these types of analyses and come to the conclusion that you should do something. But if it feels off, I have learned to say no.